that was a piece of the humble pie. But if I may jump in, I will say my piece of humble pie, and if it's any Smash Brothers Melee players out there, you might want to cover your ears if you worship or glorify wave dashing. I'm pretty good at Smash Brothers, even to this day. Ultimate, I love Ultimate. I'm a Fire Emblem weeb. What'd you say, Lambo Weeaboo? I love those characters.
Yeah.
But there was
Samurais,
a time,
Fire Emblem.
There was a time where I love when fighting games were at their peak in our area, and there still is a GameStop in this certain area of our town, but across from it, it was another franchise, another business called Game Crazy, and both of them had Smash Brothers tournaments going on at the same time. I was so ridiculous. I signed up for both of them, and I would run across the street playing chicken, Frogger. Wow. I would win a match, and I would run across the street and play my other match. And by the time I finished my set, it was my turn to go again. It was such an adrenaline rush. And I wound up winning the tournament that night at GameStop. But over there at Game Crazy, there was this sweaty kid, and he used this mechanic called wave dashing. And wave dashing is a technique that actually defies the game's physics and Smash Brothers Melee. And I had never went up against wave dashing. It's kind of like an old kung fu movie where I'm using the Black Tiger style, and then somebody drops off the roof and says, "Ha ha, you're no match for the new praying mantis style, boy." You know what I'm saying? And I'm not used to it, and I ran up on this guy. And what wave dashing does is they jump, but they cancel out their jump with a dodge, and it makes them slide away at a pretty impressive speed. So he would hit me, and when it was my turn to counterattack, he would wave dash out of the way, and I could never hit him. And he's flying around the screen, and I'm getting flustered, like, what is this guy doing? Like, what is this? And he whoops me pretty bad. And me coming
is this
from
real life?
Yeah, me coming from all these wins, and I'm playing the game traditionally, you know. I didn't know how to wave dash. I was just good at what, Sakurai-sama, what he taught me in the instruction manual, And this guy has his new technique, and he destroys me. And he's like, "Hey, man, good games, And I wasn't really salty, but I was, kind of stunned that I lost. I had won one, and I didn't win the other one. I got second, but it was okay. But that was a piece of humble pie. And even now, even now in Smash Brothers, I can't keep up with those guys. I'm pretty good, but some of these guys study the frames, the wall traps, the ledge traps. I'm pretty good, but when it comes to the sweatiest of the sweaty, I can't compete. So I'm constantly reminded of that humble pie that I was given all those years ago in Smash Brothers.
Doesn't
Melee.
It just taste so good?
Oh, yeah. Once you get used to it, and once you realize that it was given to you, it's not too bad. You just have to get used to the initial taste. But it's all a part of growing as a fighting game competitor. And it's all a part of, just loving fighting games in general. I'm pretty sure everyone has had their piece of humble pie. There's no one with a perfect record that has had an extended career. Even the fighting game great Daigo Umehara, the Twitch ambassador, they call it Umi Shoryu and Umi Flash Kicks. Like, he's a very lovable fighting game icon. He has his losses, and I always respect that he's regarded as the best Street Fighter player of all time. And when he loses, he shakes hands, he smiles, and he walks away. And that's a good standard of how you should act. But that was my piece of 100%. Yeah. What about you?
And
BLJ?
It also goes to show that you even if you feel like you've just been completely destroyed, don't give up.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if I'd have gave up, I never would have. Like, we wouldn't even be doing this podcast if I'd have gave up, because I wouldn't have sought out that rivalry with you to get better, to do better. And then we wouldn't have had these, late night Texas goodbyes where we're talking for 2 hours about video games. Like, man, we should just record this.
Yeah.
And then here we are now.
Could have been a time paradox, but
get a little emotional on you.
Could have been.
Glad it worked.